Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Football Terrace. It is the top six show on this final day of international break. The football will finally be back this weekend, albeit there are the FA Cup games, but at least it's something. International football is just drab. Granted, the Nations League was a bit fire, to be fair, low key. Some of the games were crazy with the amount of goals that were scored, but we're not really here for the Nations League. We're here for the Premier League, Champions League, Europa League, and some teams in that their Conference League. Anyway, I don't know who that's. I don't know who that's for, but some teams are in there. You know what I'm saying? But that's what we're here for, and that's what we're here to speak about on the top six show today. We have got many things to talk about. We have got Mainoo's contract with Manchester United. Will it be signed? Is it worth it? What is going on there? We have the likes of Tom Little here speaking about everything Liverpool. Trent, is he a snake? That is the question I'm going to ask people. Also, Mo Salah looks like he might be signing. What does that mean for Liverpool? And then obviously, Garry Neville wants to be chatting about England, and a certain Man City player apparently must be the linchpin and can be never dropped, depending on, even though their form is crap. And of course, Arsenal as well will be spoken about today. I'm joined by a man like Roberto, Tom Little, man like Will, and of course, Henry, who's a mainstay on this show. You know what, Henry? I'll give it to you. Terry gives you a lot of stick on this show, but because I'm the host today, I'm not going to do that. I appreciate you, Henry. We appreciate the effort that you give to us. How's everyone doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good.
Yeah,
FA Cup's on this weekend, so that's something to look forward to. And then it's only a week or so or a few days to the Premier League. What is the first Premier League game next week?
It's Tuesday. I know Man United playing Forest on that day.
There's no Prem games this weekend.
No Prem games at all.
FA Cup.
Okay. It's like Man City, Bournemouth, Forest, Brighton. There's a couple of good games, but next week is obviously Chelsea Spurs, which that's a big game.
Yeah, Chelsea Spurs are playing. It's going to be it's Arsenal and Fulham, and you got Man United and Nottingham Forest on the Tuesday coming up this week. So yeah, hopefully United can get that last win to take us out of the relegation fight and into safety. That is all I care about this season right now.
You're 3 points off 40, are you?
Yeah, 3 points off 40. Just one more win. And it's official, isn't it? Them man can't touch us, you know what I'm saying? But nice to see you guys doing well. Talking about Man United, let's go straight into it. Before we do, though, guys, remember to smash the like button. Remember to subscribe to the Football Terrace and share this video out there for anyone who's not doing anything on a Thursday. They need to hear this wonderful insight of football knowledge. Look at everyone we've got here. Look at all the ball knowledge in there. Maybe not Tom, but the rest of them.
Right, so we're not taking the piss out of Henry, so I'm just it's my go.
Listen, we got to
Teddy back on. Bring Teddy back.
You got to switch the targets, man. You got to switch it up. Me and you we've got rapport from flipping Germany. That's why. That's the way. I don't know Henry. I don't know Henry personally like that, but me and you, I know you, brother. I know what I know what you like. What we got here in the comments? How are people doing? Terry's okay, by the way. Terry is okay. He's in Ireland. He's visiting his son. I think everyone deserves a bit of family time every now and then. You know what I'm saying, people? I think so too. So yeah, he is okay. He is okay. Don't worry about that. But all right, let's get stuck into it. Listen, Manchester United, the team that causes me pain on a yearly basis, and a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, and maybe sometimes daily, depending on what the news is. But the news going around is a bit of a mixed one. We see from the MEN the reporting that there's a genuine chance that Mainoo might leave in the summer, that his wage demands needs a compromise to come to, and then if he doesn't reach a compromise, that he can be sold for the amount of around hopefully 70 million. That is apparently what Man United are quote unquote looking to get for Mainoo in the summer to sell him. He got other reports from the likes of Graham Bailey, who are saying that actually Man United are close to finding a compromise with Mainoo, close to it for him to sign, and that there should be no worries, no panic that he will sign a deal. Laurie Whitwell last week on Stretford Paddock saying that everyone at the club wants Mainoo to stay. Mainoo wants to stay at Man United. So it's all up in the air right now. I know a lot of people don't trust Ineos, but I think we need to give them time with this one. And if they do get it over the line, let's not bag on them and say, "Oh, but you wanted to sell them, really? You only did it for PR and stuff like that." Let's leave that out of the way. But the question I want to ask you guys is this the right move for Man United to try and actually extend his contract and not sell him? Because there are questions about Mainoo about if he actually fits what Amorim wants to do and fits the system. Is he a player that Man United should be looking to fit into the system, and is giving him the contract the right thing to do?
Yes. Yeah, he's been one of your better players under Amorim before his injury. You know, United haven't necessarily had many fantastic performances to look back at this year, but the majority of your best performances, Mainoo played a big part in. Again, he's still very young. I feel like he this season he's been beaten unfairly with the stick of I've heard people say he's regressed and stuff. That's not the case. Guess what? Young players have wobbles, especially when the teams around them aren't good. If the teams around young players are inconsistent, guess what? Young players also come across as inconsistent. At the end of the day, at the high points of Manchester United season, Mainoo has been a big part of that. You don't want to get rid of that, especially not with all the homegrown stuff and the fact that he came through the academy. You want to keep those sort of players around. So I don't see why United should be considering letting him go. If United's PSR situation is really that bad, you let go of Garnacho. He's the one that goes, and you keep Mainoo because Garnacho is much more replaceable than Mainoo is. There are wingers out there that do what Garnacho does for half the price, but I don't think you can get a midfielder that can do what Mainoo does and has the potential that Mainoo has for half the price that he's got. So I think he's one of the three players in this United squad I think they should be looking to build around for the next 10 years. Him, Lenny Yoro, and Amad Diallo. The rest, some might not last 10 years, others, I think it's time to move them on. But that three-man core of Diallo, Mainoo, and Yoro, that's what United need to stick by and push through with it, because Amorim clearly trusts them and likes them. The club need to make sure that they're getting the right opportunities to develop, not trying to sell them on to pay for the mistakes that they made previously, and therefore undermining the manager yet again at the first possible opportunity.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, Roberto, your club with Chelsea was obviously linked to him in the January transfer window, and people are still saying that they're stiffing around the likes of Mainoo and Garnacho. Would you say that Man United should let him go? And is he a player that, if the contract renewal doesn't go the way that Man United want, would you want Chelsea to be a club that goes in for him?
Me personally, I mean, I think he's a great player. I think I would echo a lot of what Tom said about in terms of I think he should get a chance in the squad. I think, the upcoming season, see what he looks like under Amorim, right? Especially with the summer window that you're going to buy in a lot of players. I think he's a top talent. He's one of the bright spots, one of the few bright spots that you have to look forward to in the future. But I did say this when, the news started going around that like maybe United don't have as much money to potentially spend as they would like, that sometimes it looks like they might need to focus on outgoings and then incomings, right? This summer. If you were to sell Mainoo, because he is from the academy, that is a lot more money that you could throw around in the market, because that would, count as pure profit, et cetera, et cetera. But I think he should be given a chance. I think that he still has he should be given the opportunity to work in the Amorim system, see where's, a spot that he can work at. But for Chelsea, I don't think we need it, to be honest. Especially with the fact that we have Andre Santos coming back from League One, right? I think in terms of a profile, I think we're covered in the midfield. I don't think we need any more signs in the midfield. And to be honest, I don't know why he would really sign, given the fact that you look at our midfield, like you're pretty much going to be sold. I think you would know that coming in. But I think he should be given a chance. I think the worst case scenario, right? If the negotiations don't go the way that they do, he's a top talent. And I mean, with the way that the market is moving, you could be looking at a substantial fee, and that should then be reinvested into getting Amorim's squad to look the way it should. But I think especially with the way that United, historically love to have, players from their academy in their first team, I think selling Mainoo would probably damage a lot of people's already like poor image of Ineos and maybe their understanding of the club, right, and the history of the club in terms of academy players. So I don't think it'll be done. And if it is, I think that's pretty much worst case scenario.
Yeah, Henry, talk to me. 70 million is on the table for Kobe Mainoo in the summer. Should Man United take that?
It's a tough one. If I was a Man United fan, I wouldn't be selling him for 70 million. I mean, you're seeing Tyler Diblin being linked to. I know it's very unrealistic, but no one's paying 100 million for Tyler Diblin, right? In this market, I mean, we paid 60 million for Solanke, who's had one good season in the Premier League. Kobe Mainoo is 19, and what you're paying for now is the potential in the player. I think he could be a very, very good midfielder for Man United for the next decade if you've got the right manager around him and the right players around him. 70 million, nah. Like people in the chat are saying 70 million, yes, he's overrated. But like, okay, do you trust Ineos to go out there and buy one or two replacements for this system? That's the other question you've got to ask yourself. If he goes, do you trust the board and the managers to go and get the right players? Because I mean, for 70 million, who would Man United get for the system that has more potential and a better player than Kobe Mainoo, who's available, who would be happy with potentially not playing European football next season? That's another thing. Man United don't win the Europa League. Like for me, 70 million, I wouldn't take it. I'd reject it and say it and come back for more. If you really want him, like someone said Camavinga. Camavinga's not leaving Real Madrid anytime soon.
I'm not leaving Real Madrid to join Manchester United.
Yeah, exactly.
Fresh off a 13th to 15th place finish, no Europe, barely any money, and Camavinga never come.
Camavinga's 100. If Solanke's 60 million, if Maddison's 40 million, Camavinga's £100 million player, and Kobe Mainoo, for what Man United need, is worth more than 70 million.
That's fair enough. Yeah, there's some interesting comments here that I want to go to. First of all, we're gonna go to Star-Lord says if Mainoo goes, he goes, but it will be a shame if it's over money. So Star-Lord saying that he actually don't mind Mainoo going, which is fair enough. But we can't be paying Mainoo 200k a week. Yeah, 200k would be excessive. He said it should be around 100k with bonuses maximum for him. And then if Man United do that, I think that'll be a fair deal. And Mainoo, hopefully Mainoo thinks that's a fair deal. But Lawrence here has an interesting comment. He says, does Mainoo make the 11 of Arsenal, City, Liverpool, or Chelsea? Because I think Lawrence is trying to say that Mainoo is overrated. And if he doesn't make the 11 of these clubs, why should Man United keep him?
But that's irrelevant, though.
Yeah.
Because those clubs are better than Manchester United in terms of talent that they have at that position. So
he's also a young player, bro. Like,
yeah, like it's kind of a weird thing to freight. Like Manchester United, they need Kobe Mainoo. I agree with everybody up here saying that he is valuable, right? He's from the academy. He is also, I think, is he injured? Because I didn't see him for England.
No, he's injured. He's been injured since February, and he's
he's a part of the England setup as well. Right, I think to not renew him and to sell him if he wants to stay, I think that's a bit crazy. But it doesn't matter if he gets into Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, or Liverpool's 11 because those teams have much better midfield.
There is absolutely no point in Manchester United in the position they're in trying to do dick measuring contests on player ability against these teams because they can't win them. The club is not in a position to win them. What you can have is players with the potential to become, these top level players. But that's where you're at. You have potential. Manchester United fans need to realise that their squad and the reason they are 13th, it is not a false position. It is not like, oh my God, it's just so unlucky that you're there. That squad, has it underperformed this season? Yes. But even if it was performing, that's not a team that's finishing above those four teams. That's not a squad which is better than those four. So I don't know where the comparison is.
Like with Mainoo, though, he hasn't really looked that good this season in this system that Amorim's running. And I guess maybe that's kind of where it's coming from because it's like, well, if he doesn't necessarily have a position in Amorim's system, then you cash in on him and then you bring in somebody that Amorim thinks could work better in those center mid areas. Because Mainoo has struggled when he's been fit. And when he's been in this back three system and he's in the midfield next to an Ugarte or whoever, he does look like he's out of place a bit. So maybe Amorim doesn't think he has space for him in the squad.
That makes sense. I think he's not had time to adjust to the system like everyone else because of the injuries. I think that's the issue. He has looked like he's struggled a bit in that double pivot role. Because in that role you've been asked with Amorim, you're asked to cover so much ground, especially the 8 that goes forward. You have to come back. You have to cover so much space. That's where Bruno Fernandes right now, I think he's doing well there because he's still got those legs in his engine, which Mainoo hasn't got that similar kind of style. But what we saw just before we got injured is him get moved a bit more forward in the 10 position.
Mm-hmm.
Now it was only a few minutes in one game and a game against Bucharest in the Europa League, and the next game after that he got moved up front in the false 9 position in I forgot who he was against, but obviously that didn't work either. But he was looking all right in that number 10 role, and I think if he wasn't injured and had more time in there, maybe he would get some kind of rhythm going, some kind of flow, and we'll see the upgrades to his play that we're seeing from the likes of Bruno Fernandes and the likes of Xerxes, who, again, those two were looking like where enough to we play them. You know what I mean? They don't fit. But sometimes footballers need just a bit of time to do that. And then also, I will say this. Mainoo is a kind of a talent that when it comes for your academy, I don't care if you don't fit this manager. He's going to be here for the next. Unless this manager takes us to the Premier League, Champions League, back-to-backs and all of that, and the manager's like clearly like, yeah, nah, like this guy ain't it, then cool. But Mainoo is a kind of talent for me personally that you keep in the squad anyway, because I believe one, he will be able to adapt, and 2, if it don't work out, I'm pretty sure the next manager would like a Mainoo in the squad instead of, oh yeah, by the way, we sold him because he didn't work for the last manager, but now he's out there somewhere else doing really, really well, and it just look bad at United's half. So for me, Mainoo, you just keep him anyway. The kid's 19.
It's the same as Archie Gray. It's exactly the same as Archie Gray and Bergvall, just because they're all young, up and coming players. Man United should not be in a position where they're relying on a 19-year-old week in, week out. He should be a player that's coming off the bench, trying to make an impact, trying to prove himself, not having to be relied on 35 games a season or whatever it is. Same as Archie Gray. In Tottenham's perspective, that was just absolutely diabolical recruitment and a manager who's clueless, who literally run our players into the ground. With Mainoo, it's like it's been a stop-start season. You had Erik ten Hag, then a new manager come in, then he's got injured. Like he hasn't really had like just echoing. He hasn't really had a run of games or a good time in the last, flipping. I mean, I know Staffy said Barca are relying on a 17-year-old. Okay, how many, Lamine Yamal is a different, the torch has been passed down. Name another team in Europe that's relying on an 18-year-old week in, week out at the highest level.
Also, Barca quite literally have the favourite for the Ballon d'Or, who is not the 17-year-old.
Yeah, and an unbelievable defense, and Robert Lewandowski up front.
Like it's not the same situation in that point. I mean, Mainoo shouldn't be, like I said, he's one of the three that should be untouchable at United. Amorim could make him work. I get what was said about how at the start under Amorim, because he wasn't there for the very start because he was injured, so he came in to the Amorim thing a little bit later than everyone else. And he's also not the DM. He's not the typical DM that Amorim would have. If you were going to put him in the DM for the Amorim system, he'd play where Ugarte does. But Ugarte is limited as a footballer, so he has to play that role. So then you're trying to force Mainoo to do what he's not the greatest at 19. That's not going to work. He's not got the experience to do that. When he got pushed further forward, it was more of a showcase of his abilities. I think what will end up happening, at least in the short term, next couple of years for United, is you'll see that midfield four, because I know it's 2-2.
Yeah.
But that midfield four become very conservative in nature. You're not going to see a classic number 10 in there who doesn't try. I think you'll see centre mids in the advanced roles, like a Manioo, like a Fernandes, guys who will track back and do the hard work to make up for the fact that you're going to have these wing backs. Yeah, Mason Mount will play those type of roles alongside Fernandes and Manioo, and United would hope to get actual proper DMs that can screen the defence.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Wing backs. That's how it should play.
Lawrence is clarifying his point. Apologies for getting that wrong, Lawrence. He's saying his point is none of the big teams will pay 70 million to sign Mainoo, so he's better off. I mean, just say here actually, where is it that he's better off for staying Man United because he won't get time to develop and he needs game time and no one's going to pay that money as well. So fair enough.
Yeah, well, so I don't think that Mainoo is worth 70 million. If we're just being honest, I think that he's very talented, right? Has a lot of potential. But if he was to be on the market, I think 70 million is a massive overpay for any club that would be looking to buy him. I think Mainoo's worth like 60 max.
Yeah, if you're talking about like if I was a neutral fan, I'd probably say the same thing. But as a Man United fan, and we want to keep our players, and Mainoo's from our academy, he scored in the FA Cup final, which we won. Went to the Euros, got to the Euros final with England. I give you, 70 million is the minimum I would ask for. You know what I'm saying? But that's me as a United fan. You know what I'm saying? So I personally don't think he's getting sold. I think he's going to sign that new contract. We are going to be talking about this situation, like why was it even panicked in the first place? I think these things happen. Granted, he has got 3 years left on his contract. So Man United could wait it out. I don't know how long we want to wait. We don't want to be like Liverpool and the way they do things with contracts. But
Real Madrid won't be going for him. Don't worry.
That's fair enough. All right, guys, let us know in the comment section below what you think about Kobbie Mainoo's contract situation. Should Man United give him what he wants? Should there be a compromise? And if there isn't, should they sell him to another club? And potentially, is he worth this likes of 70 million that we've been quoted? Guys, I'm gonna show you something here. Talking about England, because Kobbie plays for England. Talking about England, I need to show you something from a certain Man United legend and what he said on a show today. Let me just play you something.
It's the age-old thing with England, right? Some players have to be informed to play. Other players will get played irrespective of the club form. So managers with England for the years have been to 8 tournaments, and I know how they think is that ultimately Harry Kane doesn't matter whether he scored in his last 5 games for his club, he's going to play for England. Right? Yeah. Fact. Shearer didn't score all the way up to the Euros. Les was never going to play. Fowler was never going to play. It's going to be Shearer because he's just Shearer, right? Foden should be that player for me. What are you talking?
Phil Foden should be a England shoo-in no matter what form he is in for Manchester City. He must be in the England starting 11. Garry Neville with a wild take there. Henry, what are we saying, man? Should Foden be a guaranteed starter for England?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He hasn't got a goal in England or an assist in his last 20 games, right? Some players perform well for their club and some players don't perform for their country. And that's exactly what he is. He's got one, to my knowledge, he's got 1 goal in his last 33 games. And that was against where he did that. The ball come out, and he backheeled it and run forward and scored. This guy in a Pep Guardiola system performs at a really good level and has performed at a very, very good level, world-class level, for a number of years. He had an absolutely diabolical Euros. He's had a poor season by his standards. But there are other players this season that have performed better. Morgan Gibbs-White has been better than Foden this season. Eze has scored for England this season. I would pick James Maddison in an England shirt right now over Foden. Like we have got players that are performing. To say that he's a shoo-in is an absolute... For me, there is 3 players that should be an absolute shoo-in for England. And that is Harry Kane, because I don't think we've got a better striker than him available. Maybe by the World Cup, we might have one. But right now, he's better than the options. Jude Bellingham has to be there. Right? And the other one is Pickford.
Wait, Pickford?
Pickford?
Pickford.
Pickford in an England shirt is not Pickford in an Everton shirt.
I'm sorry, I was saying like Harry Kane, Jude Bellingham, these world-class players, and then Pickford.
England Pickford is a joke. He keeps us in so many games.
All I'm going to say,
and Saka, of course.
Yeah, but I say Saka should be the one.
The rest of them is down to form.
Just before we're going to keep it on Foden, but just to your wild statement there, I'm pretty sure flipping Dean Henderson, or James Trafford could have the same kind of career.
No chance. Absolutely no chance.
I as much as I appreciate his penalty saves and all the things he's done in tournaments, his wildness, whatever. Jordan Pickford, I'm pretty sure, is the shortest goalkeeper I've ever seen in my life.
KJ, Pickford
You know what I'm
in an
saying?
England shirt forget what he does at Everton because that defense is Brexit. Pretty much our defense for England is Brexit. He's unbelievable in an England shirt. He's unbelievable.
I'm not taking away what is done for England. I'm just saying this whole.
Yeah, I feel like
no
to say
one
that he
else
must
can do
start
it.
is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
okay, but
Yeah.
what other goal are we taking? I'm not taking Dean Henderson in the fucking World
Give
Cup.
me Dean Henderson.
No chance. And I'm
Give me
definitely not
Dean
taking
Henderson.
Pope. So who else have we
Man,
got? Trafford at Burnley? Nah.
I mean, how many records did that bloody Trafford break this season?
I know,
In
yeah,
terms of
give me
clean sheets?
James
Bellingham,
Trafford, bro.
Kane, and Pickford are the guaranteed 4 starters.
Yeah, Rosie, I'm with you, man.
Honestly.
I can see why.
Pickford.
I can see
It's just a list of names that you've given me of like shoo-ins for England. Harry
Okay,
Kane.
so tell me a goalkeeper you're
Bellingham.
taking.
Bellingham.
You're not taking Dean Henderson.
I'd give Dean Henderson a run-up, see what he's like.
You know what? You know how bad that take is. Gary Neville sounds sane, bro.
That is not a bad take. He's been our goalkeeper for the last 4 tournaments.
No,
He's
no,
been
yeah,
unbelievable.
exactly.
Harry Maguire's been our centre-back for the last 4 tournaments.
Yeah, but we've got better centre backs than him now. Who do we have a better goalkeeper?
I
for
think we've
England
got a
right
better goalkeeper than Pickford.
now?
But
Nah.
you can't say this on centre-back. You can't give me the caveat for England at this point. Because I haven't seen the other ones play for England in the same way I haven't seen these other centre-backs who are better than Maguire play for England.
That is fair. That is
Yeah,
fair.
that's.
I can only go off what I've seen recently.
There's an
What I've
argument
seen
there, but I'm
recently
still taking
is
Pickford.
Dean Henderson.
Anyway, let's bring it back. We'll pull up the thing. Let's bring it back here. I'm going back to Phil Foden. Roberto.
Yeah.
I don't know what's your background. Where are you from, and who do you like nationally? Who do you support?
Oh, I'm Ecuadorian. So
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool. Hey man, you've got Casado in that. Okay, fair.
yeah.
Yeah, fam. But anyway, as a neutral fan in all this whole, because you're not like a European, you're not a real European country, so you're not gonna be like,
Yeah.
it's to England. Phil Foden being a mainstay and a staple player. What do you think about that from Gary Neville?
I think the Euros should have been more than enough of a sample size to know that he does not work in this team. Me personally, I think in Pep's system where everything kind of moves around to give Phil Foden the opportunity to do what he does best, which is cut in and shoot. I think he's really, really good at that. I think he's probably one of the best in the world at that. That's why he won player of the season. And he got the recognition that he deserved, right? But then he went from that high level, right, winning that award, to then stepping into the Euros team and pretty much playing every possible minute and did pretty much nothing. I mean, England were playing basically with 10 men almost. And for me personally, like when Neville said, he can play in multiple positions, and I'm like, yeah, but he doesn't play to a high enough level to justify any position he's in having him over anybody else. And you play him on the wing, he's not as effective on the wing when he doesn't have the system around him facilitating him being able to cut in and shoot, because he can't beat the man one-on-one. And when he plays in the 10, he can't play a through ball. He's not that creative 10 that you need. He's not going to, ping the balls over the top the way that you would need for somebody like Harry Kane. He can't put the cross in. Like he's versatile. Sure, you can call him that, but he's not at a high enough level to play anything. He's like a false 10 when he plays in the 10. Me personally, I don't see why he should continue to be given. I think the Euros, he played himself out of that position. He played himself out of the starting lineup. I don't understand what is the obsession with UK media and continuing to try to defend him as if the Euros didn't happen. If the Euros did not happen, fair enough. We don't have enough of a sample size, but we saw it the whole tournament. He was bad. He was not good. So I don't understand this. We need to defend him. He's an indisputable starter. He's not. The stats show it. The eyes show it.
You know what it is with Foden and the English media. I'll come to Will in a sec. I got a question for him, but you know what it is with the English media and Phil Foden. I think when he was first coming through the Man City academy, obviously he had a lot of hype. He had a lot of plaudits. They called him the Stockport Iniesta. They were saying this could be England's greatest ever player potentially. He looks like a generational talent, and he's gone on. Obviously, his career speaks for itself. Being a part of this Man City squad, he's won multiple Premier Leagues. He's been part of the four-peat. He's won the Champions League. He's won a treble. So you can't play down the Phil Foden's career at Manchester City. That can't be questioned. And I think because it looked like the prophecy is about to be fulfilled by this Englishman, because I don't think the last time we've had a player like this in terms of the quality, it may be Wayne Rooney in terms of you can see this kid and be like, "Rod, this guy could be the greatest we've seen." Phil Foden was Rooney and Foden are similar in terms of that when those coming up, right? And because it looked like it could have been, it's close to being achieved. I think they're just sticking with it. They can't U-turn now because the man's got the trophies. All he needs now is his England performances to pick up, and England to win a major trophy with Phil Foden being the guy, and the media's prophecy of their English Messiah has now been fulfilled and come true. And I think that's what it is. I think they're just holding on to this idea of Foden being the guy, when really and truly, you look at where he's at right now for England, forget Man City, for England, he hasn't stepped up to the plate and they can't handle it. So you are going to get the likes of flipping Garry Neville spouting this foolishness when he has done nothing to prove he is a mainstay, a undroppable player for England. It's crazy. Will, Roberto said something interesting there in terms of he's versatile, but it doesn't matter about his versatility. Where does Phil Foden actually fit into this England team? When you get all the attackers lined up, you got the right wings, the left wings, the 10s. Where does he actually fit into this team?
Yeah, that's the thing. If everybody's fit, just based off the performances for England, he doesn't fit in. But I kind of have to blame the managers that England have had, because if you look at a player like Phil Foden, right? It's like you said, KJ. We could, like, if you're going to speak objectively, right? Because I know that people like to troll, everybody has like this tribalism. But objectively speaking, right? I think everybody here on the panel would agree that Phil Foden is a very good player, right? Like, when we look at the abilities that he is a very good player, right? Like let's not act like just be. But the thing that annoys me is the whole narrative of beating him over the head with he's a system player, or he like that Pep system. 99% of players in world football are system players. If they're not in the right system, then they're not going to look as good as they could. I think for England, right, underneath Gareth Southgate, they were playing that haram ball for 8 years, right? I know that you guys made a couple of finals, but ultimately you didn't win anything. And I feel like if the system was a little bit better, right, if the system allowed him to maybe have a little bit more time, like on the ball and whatnot, I do believe that you get the best out of him. Now, I think to say that he's a guaranteed like lock in for England's 11, I don't agree with that, because I think when Saka is fit, I think Saka needs to be on that right wing. And then we saw in the Euros that when Foden was on the left, he was obsolete out there as well. So I don't think that there is just a locked on spot for Foden. I don't think that if everybody's fit, there's a place in the side for Foden, because on the left wing, I think that at this point you would rather have like Anthony Gordon because of his pace and maybe can get in behind on the defense. Maybe that'd work a little bit better. So I feel like he should be dropped, but I get why the English media believe that he needs to be a part of that England 11 more times than not because of what he's doing in the Premier League. And we know that there's that English bias in terms of, well, if you're one of the best players in the Prem, then you're one of the best players in the world. So make it work for the national team. But I think that he should be dropped, though, from that 11, 100%, if everybody's fit. But I don't necessarily see a clear-cut position where you can say, like, that's Foden's spot. That makes sense.
There isn't one.
Yeah.
I mean, we were out in Germany for the Euros, KJ. England got to the final. He had one good game, and that was Holland in the semi-final. That was the only good game Phil Foden had in an entire tournament. Jude Bellingham was the player of the tournament, and Jude Bellingham, or England's player of the tournament, should I say, and Jude Bellingham had to go out to the left to accommodate Foden to try and get anything out of him for the final couple of games. Southgate wasted his best player out on the left-hand side to accommodate Foden, and still, bar one game against Holland, got nothing out of him. It comes to a point, look, Phil Foden is a very good footballer, but maybe he just doesn't suit international football at this point. Maybe there's just a part of him that isn't made for the style of football England want to play. England look better when they have wingers on the wing. Therefore, you don't really want Foden out on the wing. But Phil Foden, he could play the rest of his career and he wouldn't have the England career that Jude Bellingham has already. And Jude Bellingham's played 2 tournaments. Like that's the level of quality. Like that's the level Jude Bellingham has shown so far. and
Kane
Foden
drops
hasn't
deep,
stepped up.
like he needs when Kane drops deep, he needs runners in behind. Like the reason why, if you think back to the previous Euro,
Bellingham can run in behind though. Bellingham just wasn't put in the
at this
position
point,
to run in behind.
I'd rather Gordon or Rashford go out on the left because they've got the pay.
Yeah,
like,
that was what I was
yeah.
saying. You need a winger out on the left. Not what Foden wants. You can't have too many players in your attack, especially when you have Kane, who want the ball to feet. You need some guys who are quite happy to make the runs in behind and to stretch that defense. And England don't have that if they play Foden. If they play Foden, Saka,
And
Kane,
Palmer.
Bellingham,
Yeah.
if that's their front four, Saka can do it, but he's a mixture of both. Foden wants ball to feet, Kane wants ball to feet. Bellingham's a mix of both, but he's probably the most willing guy to run in behind.
Crash to go.
He's the most willing to run in behind.
Yeah,
but that's the problem. It's not a solid dynamic. If you then put
but
Gordon
the
there,
thing is, though,
you've got the dynamic.
But you know the thing is though, and I think like being an England man, well, just international manager, not even England, just in general, like it's because with international football, you don't get a chance to like implement a style of play per se, because you're only with these players a few times out of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So now when it's time for international duty, you get like 1 or 2 training sessions, but like you're not implementing a system, right?
But will the all playing? But bar Jude, every England player at that tournament played in the same league, and whether we like it or not, the Premier League, the style of the league, and the level of the team that these guys played in, all played with the same principles and with the same philosophies and with the same, build-up patterns and the same structures. Right, so I'm looking at the players that played. Defense isn't really that relevant for build-up structure, but you had Stones, who played at City, 3-2-5, 2-3-5, whatever. Walker, Trippier played at Newcastle.
Guay plays in the back three.
Gay played in the back three for Palace, who build up in a 3-2-5. In midfield, Declan Rice at Arsenal done the same thing. When Mainoo got in, it wasn't Trent at DM. Same thing. Players who build up in pivots. And as you got forward, Saka plays in a 3-2-5. Kane at Bayern played in a similar thing. Foden at City played in a similar thing. Jude's probably the one who didn't necessarily play in it, but Jude is that good a footballer that it doesn't really matter. He can just adapt his role to anything. They all played with the same principles, but yet they went to England and completely abandoned principles and went to play a style of football at England that the English Premier League hasn't been associated with since the early 2000s, of rigid, defensively sound, counter-attacking football. The Premier League is full of some of the best teams in the world who dominate possession on a weekly basis. So play to their strengths. That's what I think Tuchel will hopefully for England fans, start to be doing, playing to their strengths, having more possession, having a set style of build-up which tries to overload opposition rather than waiting to hit them on a counter-attack and relying on pure individual brilliance.
I feel like Tuchel is more of like a pragmatic manager, though. Like, as in, like, he likes to be defensively sound.
No, but pragmatism doesn't necessarily mean part of the bus every game. You know what I mean? Like that pragmatism is more towards I'm willing to change depending on what my opponent is. And
pragmatism is trying to neutralize your opponent rather than just sticking with your style of play through thick and thin.
Yeah,
Tuchel will adapt certain things, but I think he wants to build up in the same way every time.
Yeah, and I think with the opposition that we're going to face in like the World Cup qualifiers, and apparently there's a rumor of this 4-way tournament between England, Jamaica, Ghana, and Nigeria.
Yeah.
If that happens, get me to 1 million, bro, because that's gonna be flipping crazy. I'll be here for that. But we're going to be facing teams in the build up towards the World Cup, I believe, that will be more about stopping England from attacking. So from there, Tuchel needs to find a way to make all of that work. And unfortunately, on paper, it looks like, put Foden in there. He's used to play against low blocks. He's playing with players that know how to pass the ball and keep the ball in front of defense. But in reality, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Thank you, Luke Skywalker, for the super chat. Everyone hit that like button in the chat. Also, he says, big up to KJ and the panel. Yes, thank you, Luke. We appreciate that indeed. We got some comments here saying the 4 absolute starters are Kane, Bellingham, and Saka, and I don't think anyone here can really disagree, especially
And Pickford.
Yeah,
I'll
talk
tell you
about
what. If David was here, he wouldn't agree with Rice being a starter. You did.
Yeah, no,
you
that
lot
is
did not.
true.
You lot were not there, and Jamie. He would hog the mic for 30 minutes talking about Rice.
That is true, man. That is true. And then the fact that Henry didn't mention Rice or Saka is a disgrace. It's a disgrace, Henry. I love that. Anyway, guys, hope you are all doing well in the chat. Hope you're having a great day. We are on here talking the top six, top six show live for you guys. Make sure you smash the like button and share this out. And remember to subscribe to the Football Terrace. You know what I'm saying? Come on now, let's flip and go. Right, I think it's time, people, for probably the best section of the show today, because what we're about to talk about. Liverpool, Trent, Real Madrid. We've got
anything happened this week? I haven't seen anything this week.
Listen.
No, me neither, mate.
Quiet one.
This has been a hot topic for the last 2 days. I've seen Liverpool fans absolutely melt down from
burning shirts,
sending abuse. I don't know, texting his girlfriend. I'm not surprised if they did that, if he does have a girlfriend and that. But the Scousers, civil war. I'm seeing Hossam say one thing. I'm seeing AGT say another. I see everyone got these different opinions, but we don't care about that because they're not on the terrace right now. You know what I'm saying? We care about Tom Little. Listen, bro, you haven't been on the show since the news broke out, yeah? Why are you mad? Why are you so mad? Because you've been going off in the group chats. You've been seeing madness on other channels. You was even on the show, not on the show. You was in the comments of the last show saying, "Are we talking about the snake? Why are you vexed, Tom? I want to know. Tell me."
Because he's a snake. Because he's tried to do everything in a crap, deceitful manner. At the end of the day, I think the way he's gone about this is completely wrong. I have an issue with the fact that you're a Liverpool fan. You grew up in the city. You live in the dream of every single Scouser. And it's an unfair pressure to have. You didn't ask for it, but it's been put on your shoulders, this pressure. But I struggle to see how for a Scouser playing for Liverpool, and this Liverpool team in particular, a Liverpool team that is challenging for and winning league titles, challenging for Champions Leagues, challenging for all the top honours, you think there's something better than that? You think there's something... a higher point than that there shouldn't be, and then you go on the way that he's handled the situation. The man hasn't done an interview. He's my vice captain, by the way, and he hasn't done a single interview since Jurgen Klopp was the manager, bar one interview on Sky Sports where all he done in it was go, "I don't want to achieve anything else for Liverpool. I want to win a Ballon d'Or."
Tom, can I ask you something?
Mm-hmm.
Do you blame him after winning a second league title and all those major honours for joining Real Madrid? Forget the fact that he's Scouse. Yep. Why? Okay, why is it? Because he's academy player?
Because being Scouse is a big part of that. You're a Liverpool fan who said for years, and this is the wonderful thing about Twitter, it's brought me all the evidence I needed. Up until 2 years ago, the man's biggest dream was to stay at Liverpool for his entire career.
So do you feel that way against McManaman as well?
Yeah. Same way I feel about Trent. I felt I didn't feel about it because I wasn't born, but everyone else felt the same way about McManaman. The feeling around McManaman is the same as the feeling around Trent, if not a little bit worse for Trent, because there was at least an understanding that McManaman's team was shit and this Liverpool team is not.
He as far as you're concerned, he's finished. He's not.
Oh yeah, he's not. Glenn Johnson's got a bigger Liverpool legacy.
Tom.
Oh.
Tom. Wait, did I just hit?
He did.
Say that again.
At the end of the day, I look back more fondly at Glenn Johnson's time at the football club at the minute.
Okay, this is how I know you're smoking. Listen, Tom, I got a question. Okay, so I know he said his dream is to stay at Liverpool for the rest of his life. Was that when he was like 21, 22? How old was he when he said that?
He was 23, I think.
23, okay.
23 or 24.
You still okay?
It
you're
was
still a
recent.
young-
It was like a year. It was like 2 years ago.
Recent years, finally, that's fair enough. But why can't a man's dream change? You know what I mean? Why can't it change? Why do it have to stay the same? Because I wanted to be a flipping film director and winning Oscars.
Mhm.
I don't want to be that anymore. You know, I do this now. I enjoy what I do now.
Mhm.
Do I expect my film friends to now hate me because now I'm like, you know what, you pivoted to somewhere else, so screw you. Like, why can't his dream change? Why can't he be like, actually, everything I thought would take a whole career to achieve at Liverpool, I've done. And now I feel like actually there's something a bit more that I want for myself.
I mean, look, I personally just can't see that point of view. Being a Scouser from the city who's a Liverpool fan, it would never happen to me, but I've never been in the position, so we'll ignore that point. Even if it was, there's ways and means to go about it. Don't have your agent lead the football club on for 2 summers and 2 seasons with your contract, when in reality you've been talking behind the back to sort this Real Madrid move out. 2 years he's been he's been going behind the club's back. No talk. All he said was, I'm not going to let this be played out in public. And I've heard more about his situation and his contract than any of the others all season.
If he was joining another team in England,
I'll be 10 times worse.
I could understand it, because I would have had the same with Harry Kane. But what I will say is,
Harry Kane would have got you 100 million quid.
No,
Okay.
he got us £100 million, but he's still an academy player. He's still a local. He's not from a million miles away. The situation I can't get my head around is he's won apps. I know he's Scouse. I know he's a local boy, but he's won everything. He's at a point now. He's going to leave a legacy there of 2 league titles, a Champions League, Super Cup, Club World Cup, 2 League Cups, and FA Cup. He's going. It's not like it's not like he's going to be against you twice a season. He's going. Well, he probably will now at Real Madrid, but he's going to Madrid, where like.
I didn't realise the Copa del Rey was this big a trophy for English right backs.
No, Henry, I don't think it's got nothing to do with the honours. I don't think Liverpool fans are upset about that. I think it's more of the way.
Bro, there is no way that he did it.
There's no
problem.
What do you want him to do? A year ago,
there's no issue. There's no issue. Like the fact that Liverpool as a football club are so incompetent that they allowed their 3 best players for years to not sign new deals and then not force them out, and then now you want to cry that he's leaving for free. That's your club's fault.
He's been planning it since he had 2 years left on his contract. There's nothing we could have done.
No. Okay, well, you could have did what Chelsea did with Conor Gallagher. Conor Gallagher wanted to leave for free. They told him to fuck off. He was training like with the under 6-year-olds. They had him baby.
But Trent never told us. Trent never told the club.
Okay. What's that? Tom.
Hold on. KJ, Tom. If you're texting a girl, and if you want to take her out like on a date, and she's texting you back super slow, giving you 1-word answers, answering you 3 days later, does she need to tell you that she's not interested? No, she doesn't.
I didn't realize that was how contract negotiations went, to be fair.
Well, yes, because if you've been negotiating for 2 years, when you get down to 12 months, you tell Trent, brother, you signed the deal this summer or you have to leave. There is no, hopefully he signs in April or maybe he signs in March. It's a business, right? So Liverpool, right, you have to, and again, right, I understand why you're upset. I think that you're right to be upset, but I think that your anger is misdirected. It needs to be at the board. And then to even add on to that, we offered you 30 million in January. Yeah, so that's him leaving for free. That's your club's fault. It's not on Trent to get you a fee. Either way, Trent was in a lose-lose situation, because imagine if he would have requested the transfer last summer. You'd still be here upset calling him a rat. He leaves for free. You're upset calling him a rat. People want to complain about not getting any money. They're upset. You could have sold him in January. Liverpool said no.
Why would I sell him in January when I'm challenging for a fucking
lose him
title?
For free and then be okay with it.
No, why would I be okay with the fact that he's been deceitful to the football club?
Tom, how is he being deceitful? If he's not
for 2 years, he's been talking behind the club's back.
Bro, but actions speak louder than words. If he's not putting pen to paper, you have to force him out. That is your club's fault.
So if Salah,
if the benefit of the doubt,
why Why would my club force him out when he hasn't given me concrete evidence that he wants to leave?
Brother, the evidence is him not signing an extension.
He is the best right back on the planet. I don't
But-
want to let him go. I want to
But
try
Tom,
and
the
get him a
evidence
new
is him
deal.
not signing a new deal.
But then you need to.
Will, you've got
doesn't
to
need to
understand
tell
that.
you.
You have to understand the context. We could have tried to get this deal done, but there were
Okay.
situations at the football club which meant there was no contract getting sorted. I.e., Jurgen Klopp announced he was fucking going. No agent in their right mind
That was
is
just
going to
last season. What about the year before that? There were no talks.
Right, okay, so the year before that was 1 year after his last extension. He signed a 4-year extension by design.
Okay.
Everyone else got 5 years. We gave Jordan Henderson, at 31 years of age, a 5-year contract extension. Do you think we didn't want to give Trent Alexander-Arnold at that time a 5-year or a 6-year contract extension? We did, but by design, he asked for a 4-year deal.
Okay.
And as it ended up, the point where we would be going into contract negotiations with him to start up a new deal, Jurgen Klopp announced he was going, and no agents in their right mind is going to sit there and have their client negotiate a new deal when there's so much uncertainty around the football club. But the
Okay,
fact
so
of the
then
matter is, there has been stuff being going. He's been going behind our back for 2 years negotiating a deal with Real Madrid. And it's been deceitfully
So then if we
wished
know
it would
that-
sneak out the back
All
door.
right, hold on, wait, Tom. So then if we know that, right? If you know that, then how don't the club know that to then say, yo, you have to leave now because we can't afford to lose you for
Yep.
free? It's
Yeah.
bad business.
Yeah,
The fact that you're saying about how he was negotiating with Real Madrid, then certainly the club would know this.
But we didn't know. That only came out recently.
one second.
Tom, last March, Fabrizio tweeted that we want him. That was last March. You have
Fucking hell, we want players all the time. Doesn't mean we go talk to them behind the club's back. There's a difference.
All right.
I mean, when you got 1 year left in your contract and it's March time of the season before that, I'm pretty sure you're gonna know they're gonna be talking to the player. But the question before we move on to I got some other questions about Liverpool. Before we move on to that, also welcome Miguel to the show. Hope you're doing well. You've come in at a wonderful time. Tom, okay, so I think Will's point is, okay, why didn't Liverpool take matters in their own hands and take the situation out of the control of Trent, who you've clearly allowed to control the narrative, especially if he got his 4-year contract that he wanted and he's run it down in the way that he's wanted? The question is, why didn't Liverpool take the matters in their own hands and be like, yo, sit him down and be like, listen, we want you to sign. If you are going to dilly-dally, if you're not going to tell us yes or no now, you are gone. Why was that not done? And I know Jurgen Klopp was there doing whatever, but I'm pretty sure you can have that conversation with him. And while that's going on, just been like, look, we've got these people, we know who we want to bring in. We know how we're going to go forward with the club. If you're on board, let's go. If not, now's your time. Because to be fair, Klopp going is a perfect time for Trent to say goodbye. And you sell him for money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm wondering. Why didn't Liverpool potentially do that?
The problem is that was he never said that. He never made it clear that he wanted to go. He led the club on for months with we were still in contract negotiations with him a week ago,
brother.
He was still engaging in these negotiations. I get where you come from, but you're missing the point of it wasn't like he said, right, I want to leave. I'm going to leave at the end of my deal.
Can we at least say that two things are true at the same time, though? Then can you say that at least two things are true at the same time? The FSG let themselves get played for too long, but like you said, Trent also played them. Is that fair to say? Do you agree with that statement?
No.
I'm not asking you, Will. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Tom.
So they who did they let themselves get played by?
Trent. Because if you literally said
by Trent's agent.
Trent led them on basically for 2 years, not signing an extension, right? Not saying anything about it, not being willing to actually put pen to paper, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as an institution, you just don't let players do that. You let the player run over you by doing that. Yeah, at some point you put a line in the sand and you said we're going to fix this.
But we gave Harry Kane
right now
contracts in 5 years. Man City had 150 million on the table.
No, bro, we literally did that with an academy kid, Josh Acheampong. This brother just wanted to go. We were like, we're not letting another club just give us a low compensation fee. You're either not playing until you leave or you sign a contract. And then we froze him out of stuff and he signed the contract. Because at some point, you just can't let the players make every single decision for themselves. You can't allow them
Mhm.
to just take whatever time you want.
I,
If you're a serious
I
institution, you
agree.
got to be like, listen,
Yeah.
Trent,
I,
we respect everything you've done.
I
but you're
agree.
already-
I agree.
I'm gonna
I
let
agree,
Tom. I'm
but
gonna
there
let
was
Tom
never-
answer this. Then we're going to super chats, and then we'll continue on the Liverpool conversation in a different way. I know, Garry, you want to hop in on this, but honestly, in terms of time, yeah, it's looking a bit long. So yeah, Tom, you rebuttal, and then I go to some super chats.
I don't disagree on that point,
Okay.
but there also has to be an element of loyalty from the player, in my opinion, especially considering his situation. He knew that from the year after he signed his deal, which we gave him, we made a sacrifice to let him have a 4-year deal. That was our sacrifice. We could have, pushed for 5, but we still gave him his new contract, but on a 4-year deal. For the next 2 years, the club was in a state in terms of the ownership and the structure, and it has taken up until this point to get it fixed. I don't blame the club for sitting there afterwards thinking that loyalty that we've shown will be reciprocated and we can have genuine contract talks. But for all intents and purposes, for everything we've read, these contract talks have not been genuine from him. They have just been a way to continue to lead the club on and a way to try and save face where possible with the fan base and make it out like, oh, no, I didn't want to go. It's just they never gave me the deal that I wanted. When in reality,
if the numbers of people that have ever operated a football club, if they need to be explicitly told, yes, I want to leave the club. No. Just ignore him not wanting to sign deals. Ignore him not really, locking in his future. No. But I have to hear it. I have to hear that he doesn't want to stay.
Okay. Tom, quick on before we go to super chats. Quick on. I understand where you're coming from. It's if he did say, no, I'm going to see the end of my contract, and he announced to Liverpool fans, I don't know, a year or 2 years, I don't know, whenever is the best.
Well, let's say last summer.
Let's say last summer, he's saying, you know what, I'm going to see the end of my contract, or will not renew. I'll be looking to move on. Would Liverpool fans actually accept that, or would you still feel like he's a snake? Because I personally think no matter what he has done,
it wouldn't be the same way. So what Owen done the same thing. So Owen said he wanted to go and went to Real Madrid, and there was a fee, and there wasn't anywhere near the same level of anger towards Michael Owen for it, because
you still don't like him.
No, but we don't like him because of the United stuff. It's not the Real Madrid stuff, it's the United stuff. There wasn't that same hatred. If he'd announced he wanted to go, the funny thing is I've seen all week it's Liverpool want to keep players until they die at the football club. No, if you want to go, we'll let you go. But integrity about it. If you'd have said last summer, look, I want to move on. Jurgen Klopp's just left. I feel like my time at the football club can come to an end as well. I want to move on to a new challenge. Real Madrid are interested. I don't think the club would have stood in the way. We've never stood in the way of a player who's wanted to go before. But
so
the
then
fact
why you didn't
is,
sell him in January?
Because what's the point in selling him in January for 6 months when we're in the middle of a title race?
No,
so you can get some money for him, so that you're not complaining about not getting any money. It's like
because do you know 30 million at that point's irrelevant. It's moot. I want
a title is much more important.
We understand where
does anybody feel like Tom's drinking the Liverpool Kool-Aid and he's believing
we'll get to that in a second. I've got super chats. I'm sorry, I got super chats. I need to get this. We got man like Jay here says, to be fair, players are appointed by the club when it comes to media duties. I think the club knew and kept them away from the inevitable question. That is a fair point.
But then why have they put Salah and Van Dijk in front of them?
Who
were getting asked the exact same questions.
Because they're not Scouse and a local lad and English.
Why is Hussam angry at FSG if Trent told Liverpool 1 year left on a contract that he won't sign a new deal? So should FSG have sold him then and not win the PL this season, or keep him and win the PL? Fair question. We got man like Dake
without him.
That's a different conversation. Trent didn't sign a contract extension 2 years ago. That's your evidence. If you don't sign with 2 years left, that's red flags. Liverpool lost their poll. We got Jay back here again saying the fans never knew, the club knew. That could be it. Ola, I'm just gonna say Ola Kunle. Wait, is that it? Ola Kunle? I think so. 07. Huh?
Is that Kunle?
No, I don't know. It could be.
Oh,
He said, Tom, how the hell do you know he's been deceitful for 2 years? You work at Liverpool FC, grow up, put respect on Trent's name. Trent was integral for us, winning everything. He done nothing wrong.
If you can't see the reasons why local fans who who look up to Trent for those reasons are angry at the decisions that he's made, then I don't see what's the point in continuing this. And if you think he's handled himself with grace and decorum this entire time, I don't see what the point is. The other two have. If Van Dijk and Salah were to leave at the end of their deals, I know that's what we're going to talk about in a minute, but if they were to leave, my anger would not be directed towards them because the way they've handled it has been with respect.
wow. Seems like some bias going on there, but you know.
It hurts more when it's your first love. So you're telling Real Madrid now employ 3 former Liverpool players, Jude, Tchouaméni, and Trent. Scary times. Konate free agent next. Real Madrid have a plan. And then we got here from Enigma says FSG waited to avoid increasing his pay for the last 2 years to save money until the last 6 months. Now it backfired. Same may happen to Saliba. Now we've been talking about Trent. Huh?
Just real quick, KJ. Just like last thing with like the players leaving.
We've got one more comment as well. Rosie says they mean nothing to me. Instead of it means more, they mean nothing. That's what Transparent is saying. But yes, go on. What are you about to say?
Yeah, no, I just want to say that really quickly. In like a hypothetical situation, right? For example, Vinicius has 2 years left. Come this summer, right? If Vinny does not sign a new deal next season, and then if he enters next summer with 1 year left on his contract, I would be expecting the club to force him out, or he has to sign a new deal. If he then leaves, and hypothetically, let's say if Vinicius leaves and goes to, I don't know, Man City on a free, yeah, I would be annoyed, but I would be more mad at the club for allowing that to happen.
I mean, the thing is, it's different from Madrid fans because I don't know if they've got academy.
Right, it'd be like Real going. Real come through the club's top, one of the best players you've ever had. Going to join Liverpool.
Been here since he was 18.
Nothing.
I know. He's like he's got. He's not born in Madrid. He's not Spanish. You know what I mean? Like it's a different vibe. But question, Igal, I'm gonna ask you. Remember, guys, hit that like button, subscribe to the Football Terrace, and also share this out for the people not watching. We're live, top 6 show right now. You know what it is. Igal, how do they replace Trent? How do Liverpool replace Trent Alexander-Arnold? The right back market is looking a bit spooky right now, and he's leaving on a free. So how do they sort that out?
You don't try to replace Trent. What you try to do is replace his creativity by the aggregate. You get better midfielders that can create more, and you play a traditional right back. You're not going to find a Trent 2.0. I think if you go out and try to find an attacking right back and you put a Frimpong in this team, I don't think it works the same way. I think Frimpong is a lot more of an attacking player and less of a defender, and he might be too much of an attacking player to play in this Liverpool system where they play a flat back 4. So I would, if I'm Liverpool, go and get a better attacking midfielder to go with this team that can also on that right-hand side or on that left-hand side, whatever type of midfielder you need to create to add more creativity to the team. Because Trent leaving, he's not going to be missed too much in that right defensive third. He's going to be missed in the creativity that he offers in the final third.
Just go and get Pedro Porro.
Stop with the Pedro Porro nonsense, for fuck's sake.
Out your own right back, who's probably your best right back.
You've been trying to sell me Pedro. You've been trying to sell me Pedro Porro for 3 months. I don't want him. I don't want your Honda. Your Honda's safe. Don't worry, I ain't shopping there.
But Tom, you know something? Loyalty is two-way street. I'm not going to go back to Trent, but Robertson's also going to get replaced, right? If he and a lot of you guys wouldn't care if his contract ran down.
I want Robertson to stay.
No, I'm just saying you guys wouldn't care because some of
I want Robertson to stay at the football club
because some of your fans don't think they don't value him the same level as Trent. Trent is still in his prime, where Robertson looks like he might be close to being finished. So I think there is a loyalty from the player, But at the same time, sometimes there's no loyalty from the fans. They'll be quick to turn on a player if the player is not performing well.
There's no loyalty from the clubs either, because if these
There
players
isn't.
were, because I'm pretty sure that Trent's had a lot of youth teammates get released by the club. So like, where's the
Imagine
loyalty?
Darwin Núñez.
To bring it back,
Yeah.
the main reason why I mentioned that, I don't think Liverpool will replace Trent. I think what they'll do is they'll find a more creative left back, because there's a lot more in the market that are creative left backs that can offer more from that left-hand flank at this moment in time than there is on the right-hand side. And guess what? If Liverpool get a creative left back, it will bring more balance to the team than them going splashing the cash on another right back to try to be the same as Trent. Because let's be honest, a lot of their creativity already comes from the right-hand side. They might as well balance it out by getting a Kirkaz or Aït-Nouri or somebody of that ilk to be added to the left-hand side.
I don't disagree. I think that's the way that the football club are going to go. I think you'll end up seeing us buying a right back who's more of your, those new type of right backs who are like a centre back or a DM, and they can form a back team, and we'll go for a Kirkaz type at left back. In terms of the creativity, Trent is a very creative footballer, but we haven't used it in the same way this year. It's been a moments type thing with Trent. We haven't played through him anywhere near as much this season compared to previous years. The problem would be for us big time is if Salah was the one that went, because that's where you're fucked in terms of finding that creativity. What we have now with Trent, I think he's on his lowest assist total ever at Liverpool in a season so far, and obviously he's probably not going to get that. He's probably not going to break that this year because of the injury. So what we are losing is, he has a decent set piece threat, and he's very good at changing the game outside in moments. But do I think we can make up for that in 2, 3, 4 different players? I do think so. If you get a good left back in, if you're able to add a top striker, I think that helps a lot. If you're able to add, a real quality in possession midfielder who can properly play out of presses and can dictate the tempo like that, I think you can make it up. I think, we've known for a couple of months now that it's probably not likely that, all three are going to stay. So how do you deal with that? I think it's been a consensus that Trent is the most replaceable one in that sense.
But Tom, so like you're giving those solutions, and I think that it makes sense. But then the question is, do you think that your club are going to do that though? Like, do you think that they are going to do like what's required to keep you guys like at this high level?
Yeah, I don't. Because you got to bear in mind, we're going to make a lot of sales this summer. I think there's going to be a big clear out of the football club. I think that the people in charge are people who wanted to be ruthless under the previous regime, but the management didn't want that. And now you've got a manager who, in his time at Feyenoord, was regarded as being very ruthless. If you put two ruthless people together, people aren't safe. The likes of Núñez is going to go. I reckon Diaz will go. I wouldn't be shocked if Jota goes. I think, Endo might go. Morton, Simicas, one of, if not both, Gomez and Kwanzaa. I think there'll be a big clear out of the football club. Someone will make a fair amount of money from that. Plus, you're coming off the back of winning the Premier League, so there should be a decent budget to start off with. I reckon we should have, with all the sales, 250 million quid to work with. And when you actually factor in the players that are going to be going, you've not lost an awful lot of squad quality to do that, because some of the players that will be going are players that have barely been used by the manager this season.
Tom, are you not drinking the Liverpool Kool-Aid a little bit? Let's be honest. From the Trent conversation to what you're saying now, you're painting it as everything's going to go well. When has Liverpool actually gone out there and done everything you need to get done?
2 summers ago.
They built an entire midfield in one season.
So you honestly believe you're going to be able to do that again?
I don't see why. I don't see why not. Because we've got the right people in charge at the football club now.
I mean, you do the same thing too, though. You guys,
but the right people in charge, would not have let Trent leave on a free.
But the right people have only just taken over.
The
right people inherited the situation rather than created the situation. If I hand you a bomb with 10 seconds to go and then it blows up, I'm not going to go moan at you. Why did you not defuse it? There was 5 minutes on the timer. These guys inherited this situation. These guys walked into this position where all 3 of the guys have 1 year left on the deal. It wasn't like they walked in 3 years ago and went, you know what, fuck it. Let's just let it.
Yeah, no, that to be fair, that is true. Like I would admit that too. Like people blame Ineos for things that the Glazers started, and they just got here and they're like, "Oh crap!" Everyone's saying it's my fault, bro. I just emptied the room.
It's like I can't blame these guys for signing Nunes. None of them were here.
That is
Okay.
true.
They just got to deal with the aftermath of it. So
But
I'm just looking at with who's in charge. It's Michael Edwards, the guy who built the last properly successful Liverpool team, and I know people are going to get very angry at this in the comments. As good as Jurgen Klopp was as a manager, his Achilles heel was his loyalty. We now have a manager who is apparently just win now. You know, screw loyalty.
Worry about it later.
Win now.
yeah.
Build me a
Fair enough.
squad that will win now. If we're doing that, and we got the guy who wanted, to sell Henderson and bring in Bruno Guimaraes 6 months before he went to Newcastle, but instead we gave Jordan Henderson a 5-year deal on 200 grand a week. I'm going to trust him until he shows me
Right.
otherwise.
Talking about inherited situations, Mo Salah. He is also one of the big three that are looking at his contracts running down. Will he sign? Will he? Won't he? So Ben Jacobs has come out and said that Liverpool are looking increasingly confident that they'll be able to sign Mo Salah to an extension, and Saudi are not even trying right now to even get a contract out there. My question is, Roberto, do you believe this is the case? Do you think it's a bit of Liverpool PR and actually there might be a bit of a twist in the tail towards the end, or Mo Salah is definitely staying?
I think just because of the reports that have come out, like when you look at the timeline, it's kind of like Salah comes out, right, addresses it to reporters saying that, the holdup isn't on his end, it's on Liverpool's end, right? He's more than willing to sign. They just need to meet the terms. I think the thing that has shifted is the reports that are coming out saying that people in Saudi Arabia are kind of giving up on the idea of signing Salah. It looks like he's kind of just rejecting them outright, which lends me to believe maybe Liverpool are getting closer, to the contract being signed with Salah more so. And I think him and Van Dijk are the most indispensable. I think Trent, you could get by until you find somebody in that position. Obviously, not nobody of the same level, but good enough. But with Salah, with the production that he's having this season, he's pretty much single-handedly carrying them to this league title. Like you can't let him go. You just can't let him go. You have to just. There are some players, and this is what I get mad at my ownership for, that you just break the wage structure for, bro. Just forget about it, man. There are some players that it doesn't matter their age or their stats. They're just providing too much to the team. You just have to break the wage structure for. Just give Salah what he demands. That's it. He's not going to be playing. It's not a 7 or 8 year contract that you're signing for Salah. He's not going to be asking for that. He's just asking to be paid what he's worth. And I think Salah does end up signing. I think it'd be a shock. It'd be an absolute shock. And at that point in time, you would know that it's on FSG 100%. Salah has done everything and said everything possible to give the idea that he wants to stay at Liverpool. That if this does not work out, it's on FSG. There's nothing more he can say or do to make that more obvious. So,
but to be honest,
if it doesn't work,
RSM,
boom.
I don't think so. I do think that Van Dijk leaves. I think it'll be Van Dijk and Trent. I think Salah does stay.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's necessarily because he's desperate to stay at Liverpool per se. Because I feel like if you're a top player like Salah and all that you're doing, especially this season, you would feel a little bit annoyed with how the contract talks are going because how much you're doing for Liverpool. But I think whereas Trent and Van Dijk have a market with top clubs around Europe, I don't think that Salah has a market. I feel like if it's not Liverpool, then I think it's Saudi. I don't necessarily think that a Bayern or
serious?
Barca. Yeah, I'm serious. Like what?
Are you telling me that if Mohamed Salah was available on the transfer market for free, top clubs wouldn't sit there and go, "I'll have a bit of that"?
No. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that. I think
no. What I'm saying is, I don't think that Salah has the same options around Europe like a Trent and Van Dijk do. No.
Yeah. I think
hang on.
Wait. Henry, one second. I think what Ron is saying is saying that, okay, look, say Mo Salah's available. Well, PSG, they've just bought Kvaratskhelia. They've got Barcola.
Dembele's cooking.
They've got Dembele. They've got their people.
He starts both of them.
No, but wait.
How they play.
Wait. He starts over them, yes, but as a club, it's probably like, do we want to invest in these guys or the older
Just
guys?
put him on a
right?
2-year contract, and you'll only
No,
make
wait,
I
but
know,
Henry,
but
but
you're not
PSG
listening.
don't operate like that, like anymore. Like, look at PSG signings; they're going for younger. Like, they're
Okay,
not
so maybe
doing
not
the whole-
PSG, but Bayern
Yeah,
Munich.
but this is what I'm saying. Bayern Munich, no, but Bayern Munich, they tried to get Doué, didn't work. They got Olise. They're trying to get rid of the likes of Sane and Gnabry and Koeman, who are older wingers. Again, would Mo Salah improve Bayern Munich? Yes, but is that the thinking of Bayern Munich's hierarchy right now?
Kate, I hear what you're saying, and there's an argument there, but Gnabry, Sane, and Koeman combined have got like 20 odd goals this season. Mohamed Salah, I still think Barcelona will have a look at him, right?
With your ball.
And then who? Then
Ferenc-
drop
Ferenc-
who?
Because Lewandowski's like 36. There's no
But Salah's
guarantee
not
that
a
he'll be there
striker.
in 2 years.
Salah's not a
Salah's
nine.
six, yeah.
Salah
Well, they can put Rafinha there.
can play up front.
Bro.
They're every single team in the world would look at Mohamed Salah this season.
but
I
and
don't
figure
think
out how to get him in there.
I
The
don't
honest
agree.
truth is, he's a free agent at the end of the season. We've heard of Van Dijk being linked to multiple clubs.
Solid
We've heard
links.
We've heard Trent to Real Madrid is almost done. Salah, the only name I've heard is Barcelona.
Yeah, that's because he's gonna stay.
Wait.
That's
So
what he
okay,
wants
hold
to
on, wait. So Henry,
There
after
wasn't-
PSG
there wasn't
knocked
any-
out
He's going to
Liverpool,
stay. Even if he's going to stay, at this
He's
current
gonna-
time, clubs outside of the Premier League can offer him contracts, and we've only heard Barcelona being the team that come to the table.
wait. So Henry, after PSG knocked out Liverpool, Van
Yeah.
Dijk was in the back room or the back tunnels, wherever that was, talking to the president of PSG and Luis Campos, one of their directors.
Yeah,
I don't think that they really were looking to talk to Mo Salah after that game. I just don't think that the
one
market
game.
is there.
We can't judge.
And they weren't
Mohamed
asking
Salah
Van Dijk,
but
where's the
one
best place
game.
in
No,
Liverpool
but
to
Henry,
get
I
dinner?
think you're missing the point. Will isn't saying Mo Salah is not worth getting for any club.
Yes.
What he's saying is the clubs right now, the market for Mo Salah
It's just not there.
is not there because those clubs have got their guys and they're happy. They're like say Man United were at the top or Spurs were at the top still, and we needed
We
a
were
right
never at the
winger.
top, but yeah.
Yeah, I know, yeah, but say we were, and we need right wingers, right? There's the market. Boom, we would be there because we need a right winger. For all these other clubs, they're cool. They are set. You know what I mean? They're happy with that.
I just think it's the way. So I don't know if you saw today. There's reports out in Egypt that we're getting that we've offered them a new, better deal, and that we're very close to agreeing all the terms on it. So, but the one thing that has been consistent from minute one this season is Mohamed Salah has said he wants to stay at the football club, and that is his priority. So I'm not shocked that other teams haven't made it clear that they're in the market for a player who doesn't want to go. But what I'm saying is, if tomorrow Salah announced, I'm going, I think all of a sudden PSG go, you know what, we can sell Kang In Lee and we can accommodate Mohamed Salah. Bayern go, you know what, we can move Olise to the 10. Musiala to the left, and we'll put Salah on the right.
Well, are you telling me Madrid don't look at Salah if he's on a free? And he announces he wants to go.
Oh,
Madrid don't go. There's another Galactico.
No,
squad player. Wait. For
Salah as a squad player.
yeah.
Well, there's a lot of links Rodrigo wants out. There's
No, there's no links that Rodrigo wants out. There's links that Liverpool want him. There's no links. But regardless, Tom, you have to understand, bro. There's no the way that you're crashing it on like Trent, for example. You do know that players lie, right? Because Mo Salah could be coming out and saying, I want to stay, but then go to the club and say, yeah, but I want like $550 a week for me to resign. So it's like,
but he's not
going to come out and say, yeah, you know what? I was thinking about leaving, right? Like, I don't think I want to be here anymore. But it doesn't mean that that's what his actions are showing, right? Like, in terms of what he's doing with the club, because I'm pretty sure that Liverpool would have loved to just had this deal wrapped up by now. So maybe he's asking for stuff that he knows the club aren't going to necessarily give him.
I've got a question.
But then what does that achieve? Because at this point, it's not achieving anything, because he would only
his legacy. Because look at how you guys are treating Trent. So he's let me make his.
But Mohamed Salah's legacy is safe anyway. It doesn't matter if he said he wants to leave at the end of the season now or whatever. He doesn't need to go and try and ask for 500 grand a week, even though he deserves that. He doesn't need to go ask for that, thinking the club won't pay it, because he is fine. The way he's handled it is perfectly natural and normal and acceptable. But the point with Salah is he has stated time and time again he wants to stay. Same with Virgil van Dijk.
But Mbappe did the same thing. He said, "I want to stay at PSG.
I feel like we're going over old ground.
But I want to stay, but I'm not signing a new deal."
No, I feel like we're going over old ground here.
But Salah has said he wants to sign a new deal. Van Dijk has said he wants to sign a new deal.
And Salah
he wanted to stay, and then was at Barcelona like 5 months later. Like,
if your point is Mohamed Salah is using the football club, is using Liverpool to get a better deal from a club elsewhere, he wouldn't come out every other week and say, "I want to stay at the football club," because that's just going to mean there's no interest in him.
But of course he would, because then now that puts the pressure on FSG, because now all the public perception is the
pressure is on FSG anyway, regardless of if he was saying anything or not. The pressure was on FSG with Trent, and Trent said "fuck all."
No, yeah,
the pressure was on them.
How you just said that if Mo Salah leaves, you're not going to blame him like you blame Trent. You're going to blame the board, because Mo Salah's come out and said that he wants to. The same thing. It's because he's trying to protect himself. Players lie all the time.
Salah doesn't need to protect himself.
We are going over the same point in a loop here. I'm gonna end it here. I'm gonna end the Mo Salah talk here in Liverpool talk, because Tom has changed colour, and I think he actually, that bomb that he was talking about with
Mohamed Salah and Van Dijk are staying. End of discussion. And Conor Bradley's better than Trent. Next topic.
There you go. All right, we've got a comment here that says, "No one can convince me that Tom is not an FSG supporter in disguise. The guy loves FSG." Tom, do not respond to that. I ain't got the time. We have to move on. Guys, smash that like button. Okay, there is a super chat about Liverpool. I'm not gonna read it because it's a bit mad, but just so that I can say that I put all super chats on the screen. There you go. I have no idea what this means.
What?
It makes no damn sense. And it's a bit wild. But Ray, there you go. You can't complain that I never put your super chat on the screen. You know what I'm saying? There we go. Yellow card.
That's
yellow card. Might even be a red one with that one. Right, let's talk about one last thing. And that is Igal's favorite club, the good old Arsenal.
I missed Phil Foden chat again.
Yeah, man. Come on time, bro. Come on time and you'll get all of it. You get all the smoke.
I was eating, bro. Sorry.
All right, man. Obviously, you're doing your thing, man. So fair play. Listen, guys, smash that like button, subscribe to the Football Terrace, and make sure you like the video and share this out to all the people out there. This is Top 6 Show. Yes, Machiavelli's correct. VAR, violent conduct. Yo, Will, you got a red. Issue that red card, man. You need to cancel the yellow. Boom, there it is. Red
After
card,
further
man.
review with VAR.
That was a wild statement. Wild. Igal, Saka is back, apparently. He's back, and apparently he's ready to go for Tuesday. How much of a booster would that be for Arsenal? And the bigger question is, are you guys rushing him back? Do you feel like this is a rush job? Because many Arteta outers say that Arteta rush players back, he doesn't look after them properly, they get injured all the time. So are Arsenal rushing Saka back, or is this the perfect time to bring him back?
What is the recovery time for a hamstring injury?
What, 3 weeks? Like 3-4 weeks normally? I don't know. And then with grass on well, like
Bukayo Saka has been out since December. So
they did say end of March, to be fair.
So if December to March is rushing somebody back, and you guys think you know better than the doctors, you know better than numerous people who have studied sports science and this specific injury and said that this was the timeline, but you guys, specific fans, all of a sudden are doctors and they know a player's body better than the doctors and everybody at the club who's tested him. It's crazy to me. Now, if you want to say the player might be rushing back to play Real Madrid, maybe Saka himself was aiming to try to get back in time for this game, in time for the round of 16 to help the team get something. Also, the club, obviously they'd want Bukayo Saka to play if he's able to play, but this would not be Arteta would not be the one giving the green light. The doctors would be giving the green light. They would be looking at the best interest of the player before anybody else's. And if I'm not mistaken, if it was a grade 1 hamstring, it would be what, 3 weeks? Grade 2, it would be like 4 to 8. The man's been out for 3 months. It's not like we've rushed him back after 2 months. Sometimes people need to relax with the whole rushing back thing. Because I was speaking to Northside about this yesterday. He said he feels like they're rushing him back. His whole premise of saying they're rushing him back is because Thomas Partey got thrown onto the pitch one time when he fell down.
Hey, Gal, do you think with Saka back in, let's say hypothetically he's in like good nick going into that Madrid game, how much does that give you? Like, are you confident now playing Madrid? I don't think you can ever be confident, but are you like in a better space now that he's obviously back in? You must be, surely.
You obviously have a better chance to win with Bukayo Saka. I think regardless if Saka's there or not, the game plan is very simple. We're going to have to be defensive. And with our best attacking player back, we now have a better chance to unlock a key in the case if Real Madrid try to come to our ground and say, you know what, you have the ball and we have to be the one to break them down. Or if they get a lead and we need to get back into it, at least with Bukayo Saka, we have a chance. But right now, let's be honest, whatever happens in the second leg, I'm not worried about that. The first leg, we need to be able to do whatever we can at home. And if we get to once we get to their ground, we're going to have to be at least 2-3 goals in the pocket already before even think about beating Real Madrid. Real Madrid are just capable of turning around a result in a second. And you need all your best players available. So yeah, of course, Bukayo Saka makes it a lot better, but I still don't know if it's enough to get over the line.
Well, I'll come to Will in a second. Roberto, there's a super chat for you as well, Will. So I'm gonna do that at the same time. Roberto, Saka is back, potentially fully fit. Does his inclusion against Real Madrid give Arsenal a greater chance of going through?
Yeah, I mean, I think it obviously does. I think without Saka, I think just having Saka on the pitch is going to give Real Madrid's defense something to worry about. And if anybody's watched Real Madrid this season, is that their defense can be got. Like, you are going to have chances in the game against Real Madrid, and if you can create against them, you'll get chances. I mean, I've seen lower half teams in La Liga create chances against Madrid, but because they're Madrid, they fail to score. They get shy in front of goal, they don't hit the back of the net, and then Madrid gets like a 1-0 victory where they nick it at the end. This Madrid team, this Madrid defense, it's not the same as it was before. And I think having Saka on the pitch is going to completely change the outlook versus if he's not. I think it might even change Arteta's game plan to a certain extent. Because if you can rely on having Saka as an outlet, if you can rely on Saka being there, but then the discussion comes in, right? Yes, Saka's on the pitch, but what is he going to look like? Because we don't have any idea of what he might look like, leading up to the Madrid game. Unfortunately, we don't have a run of games. We don't have like 1 or 2 prime games one game. That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying a run of games where you have a solid idea, like, oh, he's at the level. He needs a couple more games to get there. Like, I think we don't necessarily know where Saka's going to be at. Well, I do agree though with the assertion that I do think that he's
Fulham at home, Everton away, 2 games.
Okay, yeah. So then by that time you'll know whether or not he's being rushed back, right? If he plays. If you can see that they're taking care of him, right? They play him first half, take some off in the second kind of thing. Then you can get a better idea of where Saka's at. But I think it's going to depend on what Saka's where his injury's at and how far he is into his recovery. If he hits the ground running, then we can have a different conversation. Then I think Madrid do have something to worry about because their defense is not solid.
True.
It's really not.
And then also I think there's a potential secret weapon for Arsenal that might happen, which is called UEFA. Henry, you brought this to our attention backstage. UEFA are potentially going to take action against Kylian Mbappe, Rudiger, Dani Ceballos, and there was one more player. Who did I miss out there for that?
Vinny.
And Vinicius Jr. The talk is a potential ban. Well, I don't know, but yeah, what do you think about that in terms of Real Madrid getting penalized for over celebrating against Atletico Madrid?
I'll be honest, it's laughable. I mean, Rudiger apparently has done some sort of death threat towards the Atletico Madrid fans by doing that. I mean, I've seen Jamie Vardy point to the Premier League badge laughing when Leicester have won a Premier League. I haven't. I've seen
Yeah,
Jamie
but
Vardy.
that's funny though.
I've seen Jamie Vardy at Crystal Palace away, running around like a seagull, doing that. I've seen Adebayor sprint the entire length of the pitch to celebrate in front of Arsenal fans by scoring a goal. Like players, they're human beings. They've got emotion. If they want to be shithouses after scoring a goal and celebrate, Rudiger's sprinting the way around the pitch, and you're going to penalise him and potentially ban Mbappe, Vinny, Rudiger, and I don't even know what Ceballos has done. Like this is. I know people are going to say it's Madrid. They'll get away with it because they pay off the refs and all these other lazy narratives. If they're going to ban those, that is ridiculous for me. I'm sorry, but that is absolute woke. Whoever in a way thinks like that is absolutely insanity to ban 4 players for being shithouses. When I've seen Jamie Vardy do it to my club for a decade now.
See, he's just saying this out of
You're
pitch.
hard about Jamie Vardy.
He's just projecting onto Real Madrid.
Like,
Listen.
like the whole Lewis Skelly thing. Lewis Skelly nicks flipping Haaland celebration and everyone goes into meltdown. Like, who cares? Get over it. It's a celebration. I hold the same energy for Lewis Skelly because I don't think he did anything wrong. And I hold the same energy for the Madrid players because I don't think they've done anything wrong. It's absolute madness.
I'll be honest.
Now credible journalists coming out, like not just the Daily Mail. There is a lot of people on Twitter now saying that it's legit. It's not fake. They are looking into it.
That would galvanize them to even be crazier against us. If Rudiger was out, obviously we have a better chance. Let's not lie to ourselves. If any of their players are suspended, we might have a better chance. But it's just going to galvanize them even more. If Real Madrid have the second leg and they have their fully fit squad ready to go, and especially after a suspension, they still have a good enough team to beat us.
Yeah, we gotta go to Will in the super chat. It says for the Timu Madrid fan, last time Real Madrid and AFC met in a knockout game, who went through? Saka is potentially going to be back. Potential bans. Will, I know you got limited time, but to leave us with, how are you feeling about this game against Arsenal? And do you think no matter what happens, even with Saka, even if you get banned, you guys will still beat them?
Yeah, I think that we're still going to knock out Arsenal, but I do want to give them credit though, in terms of it's not going to be like how everybody's saying that Arsenal have 0% chance and that we're going to absolutely batter them. We're not going to batter Arsenal. It's going to be a tough 2 legs. I think on aggregate, I'm predicting us 4, Arsenal 2. But it's going to be a very tough 2 legs. But if these players do get banned, which would be absolute nonsense, I still don't think it really matters because then they'll be back for the second leg. And since that will be at the Bernabeu, I'm just more so worried about what does Saliba think when he comes to Spain? Like, how does he like the stadium and how does he like the facilities? And, like, does he envision himself playing here on a weekly basis? Like, that's more so what I'm viewing this draw as, is a recruitment process for my future center back. So, like, we'll see what happens there. But
William Saliba's going to have a career day at the Bernabeu. He's going to have Ancelotti walking him around the place, pointing stuff out to him, talking to all the other players on the pitch.
Tom, like on the international break, I already know that Mbappe, Camavinga, Tchouameni, come on, like they were all talking. And
Tom, best believe he'll be calling Trent at the end of the season. I know that.
I'm already done with the Trent stuff. Doesn't matter. I know. Listen, it doesn't hit the same.
The thing about me is I understand that we're on borrowed time with Saliba. He's such a great player. He's destined for the best teams. But my hope is Real Madrid go and get this guy from Bournemouth. Real Madrid go and get a couple other players, and they might not need him in a year or two when Saliba's contract's close to being out. Just so everybody knows, Saliba has 3 years remaining, not 2. His contract's out in 2028, not 2027, because he has a year extension, which people don't factor in when they go on these websites.
It's so weird that everybody just thinks, yes, I get it, like the free agency stuff that Madrid like to do, right?
Real
like
Madrid will buy a player.
Brother, we can buy him as well. Like, I don't think that the board would have any issue.
We would have to sell. We would have to agree to sell him.
Huh?
We would have to agree to sell him.
I believe that would, but I believe that he'd force that move, especially if you guys.
I don't
trophy.
Let's
not act like Arteta.
I don't think Saliba's in a situation right now. I don't think Saliba's in a situation right now where he's going to force a move out of the club.
Nah, if you go next season,
Trent just left Liverpool, bro. Like, come on, man.
I don't No, I'm making it clear. I'm talking about this summer. I'm not talking about next year.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
That I
okay.
agree. I like.
That's
I
fair. That's
don't
fair.
think that Saliba is a this summer signing. Maybe.
Because I think
Who
if you
knows?
guys tried to come to us for Saliba this summer, it would be north of 100 million, easy.
Yeah, but if
He'll
they
pay
did
that.
though, if they did, because they can, if they go boom 120 mil Saliba, you think Arsenal say no?
No.
If at that point Saliba might force it. If it's 120 million pound offer, at
But
that
I
point he would try to force it.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, we wouldn't bid without talking to Saliba first. I think that he'll call, because the thing is, right? Arsenal are not a good selling club, and I do feel like we could take advantage, and he will be the world's most expensive defensive signing. Yes, like he will break whatever record, but I don't think it'll be.
Is it still
over
Harry
100.
Maguire?
I think it's for
I think that it'll be about 100, because like Arsenal don't usually do that good of a job of selling their assets like that, and I feel like we
No,
can take advantage.
but you know why though? You know why?
Yeah.
Because when we were selling club, we were selling players that were at the time when we were selling players and we were selling club. It was early in the early 2000s to like late 2010s. We haven't really been selling any quality players in 2015 and above.
Yeah, he
Think
didn't have
about-
many to be fair. That's why.
We haven't had many options. The,
Nah, you sold me
Don't
off.
pick up that rapid difference.
we,
Cook
went
him,
from
bro.
having Alexis Sanchez and we could have sold him for 60 million to Man City in September to him leaving on a free and a swap deal for Mkhitaryan. Like, of course we were bad at selling players, but we also never had a quality squad to this level. Let's be honest, a lot of the players in the squad are a lot better than what we used to have over the last 10 years. And I don't think Arsenal right now are a selling club. We're about accumulating talent to get us over the line. We're not looking to sell Saliba. We're not looking to sell Gabriel. I think today Saudi come with a €100 million offer for Gabriel. The club turns it down.
And I also will say, you guys
I
went very right.
don't know about that.
Wait. If Saudi came in for how much?
100 million quid for Gabriel, and you're telling me Arsenal going no.
Euros, 100 million
Oh,
euros.
so what, 95 mil or something like that, 90 million or something.
Yeah.
I still don't think it'll be an instant rebuttal. I think there'll be a serious look at that.
That would be tempting. That would be
No,
tempting.
because the club.
How old's Gabriel now?
20.
Gabriel's 27 or 26.
See, I think
You
that
can
would,
play
I
for
don't-
another
I think
5
that-
more years, bro.
I don't disagree, but I just think that near on 100 million quid for someone.
It's not. It's not worth.
Well,
It's
what
not
I will-
It's not worth it because that 100 million, you're going to take more than half of that to try to replace him. And then even then, it's not guaranteed you're going to get the same return in investment.
That's fair. Well, what I will say about Arsenal right now as well, compared to before when it comes to selling, is that you guys are better with your contracts. And I know that a lot of your sales back in the day as well were because they weren't renewing, similar to what happened with with Trent and stuff. They weren't renewing, and you've got to a place where, well, we've got to sell them now, or they're not gonna sign, and we're getting them for them anyway. So you guys have got your contracts down. You were early on Saka, you were early on Saliba. Have you given Gabriel a new contract? I think
we currently are in talks with Gabriel, Saliba, Saka, Miles Lewis-Skelly, and Ethan.
Yeah, so you guys are getting very early on these contracts to tie people down. So I will give Arsenal that they have definitely changed their ways when it comes to player contracts and the treatment of the players. So yeah. All right, guys. I think that's it. There's only what we got. We got that comment there. Oh, this one from Jamie. Not that there. No, that right there is KJ drinking copium. Jesus, who did the deal with the Glazers? What absolute waffle. Listen, I think this was talking about blame when you blame someone
the inheritance thing, the
inheritance of someone else's problems. I'm not saying how is that Ineos's fault they inherited problems from the Glazers? Just because they signed a deal doesn't mean they still did. You can't backdate the problems because you just signed up. You know what I'm saying? Like
Also, if any person wants to look at something but should say no because there's problems, nothing ever gets sold. No business, no company ever gets sold then because there's always a problem. I just don't see why it's now become a thing where you got to go at people for stuff they didn't cause or problems they inherited and blame them for it. They didn't do any of it.
Yeah,
so why am I going to go at them?
They didn't sign Onana.
Jim
said it himself in that interview.
Yeah,
people are blaming me for Onana and Sancho. I didn't sign them.
Yeah, he didn't sign it, and they're paying for it, and they're trying to fix that. Now, listen, will Ineos fix it? I don't know. Have they made mistakes already? Hell yes. Dan Ashworth, Ten Hag, bringing in Amorim mid-season, only giving him one player in Jan. There are plenty things that I can say that Ineos have done wrong, where I don't have to like go back to what the Glazers did to pull it on them. Like I can stick it on them without that anyway. So yeah, just to answer that thing here, we got early prediction for Arsenal Real Madrid aggregate score. So Will said 4-2. Roberto, what are you saying?
I'll say 5-2.
Ooh, to Madrid?
Yeah.
Real Madrid are not scoring 3 passes.
Interesting. So Tom?
I'm gonna go 4-1 Real Madrid.
4-1 Real Madrid.
You don't know what happens at the Bernabeu. That Bernabeu is a fucking horrendous place to go, man.
Yeah, that's why the 3-1 happens, bro.
The juju that happens at that ground, some of the stuff I've seen players do on that ground. I watched Manuel Neuer last year drop the ball from a pot shot just so Hostelou could score and level a tie. Stuff happens at that ground which doesn't happen elsewhere.
Yeah, Henry, what are you saying?
5-3 Madrid.
I'll go to you last thing.
Arsenal will get chances, but Madrid,
So
they might even score all 5 at the Bernabeu. Because that, like Tom said, that for me, that is the ground in Europe you don't want to go.
So I want to come to you last again because your team. I'm gonna say, listen, I want to say this. I'm saying 5-5, and Madrid go through on pens because of heritage.
5-5.
5-5.
Where's the 3-3 happening?
Another double tap
Where's
penalty.
the 3-3 happening? There's got to be like a 3-3 or a 4-all.
Hey, listen, I reckon at the Emirates they could do a cheeky 4-2, then lose 3-0. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
But then they got 5-4.
Yeah, for 3-1, sorry. Then lose 3-1. Yeah. I reckon because Arsenal's greatest asset is their defense, but then Madrid's greatest asset is their attack.
So KJ, you're thinking it's going to be like that Real Madrid City side a couple of years back?
Yeah.
Where like last minute.
Yeah, they're going ban for ban. I think they're going ban for ban. I believe it.
It is when it's just like this crap 0-0 tie across 2 legs.
It's always the case, man. All the exciting ties, you guess, like, yeah, it's going to be high scoring now. Always
like, Vinny and Mbappe suspended, so Real Madrid don't attack at the Emirates.
If they're suspended, it's going to be like a 0-0.
No, they're suspended this peak.
Bro. It's going to be awful.
I think you guys are all wrong. It's going to be literally less than 3 goals scored for both teams.
Okay, cool. Over 2 legs, less than 3 goals. So what's the score?
2-1.
2.
Probably Madrid.
Nah, say what's in your heart, girl.
Heart of hearts, gal.
Come on, man.
Honestly, at this moment in time, I've not seen enough to say we can go and win away at Madrid. So I'll be honest. It's going to probably be 2-1 to Madrid. And that's not one game. That's the whole tie. Because I think at the Emirates, it's maybe a 0-0 at the Emirates or 1-0 Arsenal victory. And then away, we get like a 2-0 loss.
I think that's fair.
But overall, that's what I think what's going to happen. As for, I know you're about to wrap up. I just want to say, Garry Neville's a fraud for his take on the Phil Foden thing.
Yeah, we already said that. Yeah, we agreed on that.
He's an absolute fraud. To sit there with all those people and say to them, well, I'm putting Foden on the same level as Shearer and Harry Kane as importance. No matter what his form is, he needs to play is ridiculous. This man not only has not had form for City this season, he's never really had good form for England. And for him to say he's undroppable when guys like Cole Palmer, Ollie Watkins are coming off the bench and they're showing more consistency than him in the England shirt. Ivan Toney contributed more in the World Cup. Was it the World Cup or Euros? I forget.
Euros.
Ivan Toney contributed more than him in the Euros. I honestly don't think Phil Foden has a place in the England team, and his best place is probably on the bench or at home watching, because really and truly, he doesn't offer them anything over the 90 minutes.
Yep, like this comment says here, he had to get his Foden jabs in. Yep, he wouldn't be a show with a gal without some Foden jabs. Him and Conley are on his neck. Guys, it's been a great show. Absolutely appreciate everyone tuning in. We've had good numbers today, over 2,000 of you guys watching and listening. Thank you so much for that. This show will redirect you to Donald Sam, who is going to do a Liverpool rebuild with our favorite angry scouser, Tom Little. So, guys, make sure you go over there. Stay on this stream. It will send you over there and go tune in for that. Roberto, Tom, Igel, Henry, and of course, Will, thank you so much for coming on. Wonderful show. Terry will be back tomorrow with some more content in the morning and also straight facts. So, guys, I hope you had a good day. Remember to like, subscribe to the Football Terrace, and enjoy your night. See ya.
Peace.